Imagine you find yourself at the New York Penn Station. You find yourself buying a bus ticket on your way to watch the ball game at Yankee Stadium. But as you arrive and you're about to take your seat, you notice someone else was already sitting there. The person refuses to give up their seat, even though you had every right to sit in the seat you had just purchased. What would you do in that situation? Did you know there was a woman who was afraid and knew that she might get in trouble for one action she stubbornly believed in? Rosa Parks. She refused to move when the driver told her to move. She knew it was wrong and didn't back down. This one action just spoke louder than words. The same action led to a whole movement, the Civil Rights Movement. Do you want to know what courage can do for you? Learn a whole new meaning to the word justice, how to gain courage, and how to untap your potential. Welcome to Untapping Your Potential, where we will share with you motivational stories, motivational figures, comeback stories, and public speaking tips that will keep you growing and inspire you to take action. Rosa was born on February 4th, 1913, in Tuskegee, Alabama. When she was a child, she was often sick and sadly had to spend a lot of time in bed. Then when she was 2, their family moved to live with their grandparents on a farm in a town called Pine Level. Rosa loved being on a farm with her family. It gave her and her sibling lots of room to play and spend time with each other. They explored the woods and streams nearby, and she enjoyed the school there. Rosa was safe in Pine Level, but this wasn't the case in other places in Alabama. Rosa and her family were African American, and this was a time when black people were treated poorly in Alabama. They were forced to attend separate schools, use separate bathrooms, and to drink from different drinking fountains. They were often called mean names and abused. This is called segregation. When Rosa was 19, she met a young man named Raymond Parks, a barber from Montgomery. Raymond inspired her to take an even more interest in the problem black people were facing in Alabama and other places in the South. He was part of the NAACP, the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People. Rosa was proud of Raymond's interest in helping this cause. He often put himself in danger for it. Rosa and Raymond fell in love and were married in 1932. In 1934, after finishing high school, she started working as a nurse's assistant and later at an Army Air Force base. On her way home from work, she rode a bus. But like all African Americans at the time, she had to ride in the back of the bus. It made her very upset to be treated differently. She didn't say anything at the time, but she was very angry deep inside. The only tired I was tired of giving in. To get to and from work, Rosa rode the bus every day. Like all other buses in Alabama, this one was segregated, which meant anyone who was black had to enter the bus from the back and sit at the back of the bus. This day, Rosa took courage and got on the bus through the front. The driver told her to get off and get on through the back. Rosa refused. The drover told her to get off again, but she wouldn't. The driver grabbed her by the coat and pulled her towards the back of the bus. She sat down again. The driver continued to yell at her. Rosa finally got off the bus, but she had stood up for herself and made her point. You must never be fearful about what you're doing when it is right. In 1954, Rosa made friends with a white woman named Virginia Durr, who wanted to help her and other African Americans. Virginia encouraged Rosa to attend a workshop in Tennessee that trained people to fight for equal rights for blacks and workers who was treated unfairly. People of all races and different states came together to learn how to make the world a better place. There, she met Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Adam Clayton Powell, a black congressman from New York City. There, she began thinking about ways to fight racism in her own city. I believe there is only one race, the human race. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa left home to catch the Cleveland Avenue bus to go to work. While she got on the bus, she realized the driver was the same one who had forced her off the bus a few years earlier. Rosa went to the back of the bus and sat down. As the bus driver drove further and more people got on the bus, The bus driver told Rosa and the others in the back to stand up so the white passengers could sit down. Rosa refused to get up. The driver yelled at her to get up, but she did not. The driver threatened to have her arrested. "You may do that," Rosa replied. Soon, the police officers arrived and took Rosa to jail. She was very afraid. Fortunately, her friends at the NAACP were able to pay her to have her released until her trial. She was going to be put on trial for not giving up her seat. To bring about change, you must not be afraid to take the first step. We will fail when we fail to try. Rosa and lawyers at the NAACP decided they would sue the bus company for not letting her sit down. Rosa and her friends also decided to boycott buses that treated them unfairly. If no one paid for bus rides, the bus company would see how much it cost to treat African Americans unfairly. On December 5, 1955, to Rosa's excitement, she saw that the buses were empty and thousands of people were walking to work and school instead of riding the buses. They were inspired by Rosa's actions. Rosa set the example by refusing to give in to unfair treatment of the city and bus companies. And the boycott didn't only happen for a day, it went for an entire year. On November 13, 1956, Rosa's trial went all the way to the United States Supreme Court, the highest court in the country. The Supreme Court judge ruled that not allowing people to sit where they want on the bus because of their race was against the Constitution and not legal. Soon after the trial, Rosa rode in the front of the bus, and a famous photograph was taken of her to memorialize the event and her bravery in standing up to unfair system. While there was still much work to do, Rosa's act of courage and the result of the trial is often considered one of the first big events in the civil rights movement. In August 1963, over 200,000 people marched in Washington, D.C. to show their support for civil rights. There, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Rosa was excited to see how many others spoke about civil rights. Then in 1964, the president signed the Civil Rights Act that made it illegal to treat people differently because of their race. Memories of our lives, of our works, and our deeds will continue in others. There will be times in your life when you will have the chance to stand up for yourself and others. Take courage, even when you're afraid. Rosa Parks found her courage somehow and took a stand on that day. Her actions became a polarizing example of peaceful protest with determined courage. What lessons can be learned from the actions of this quiet woman? And how can you apply them in your own lives? 1. You don't have to be loud to be a leader. So often when you think of leaders, you may think that they are louder than everyone else. Rosa Parks was small, and she chose silence to indicate her rebellion and her determination. 2. Courage can get you anywhere. Nobody knows how much courage it took Rosa Parks to remain in her seat that day. She was probably terrified. What's more, courage gives you the power to chase after things that are important to you. 3. Violence is not the answer. Too often these days, most people exchange a hurt for a hurt. Most people believe that if others hurt them, they have the right to hurt them. But Rosa Parks shows a different way. Consider new solutions to old problems because, regardless of its cause, violence has a negative impact on those who experience or witness it. Violence can cause physical injury as well as psychological harm. Overall, you can make a difference in the world by speaking up and taking peaceful actions. I believe we are here on the planet Earth to live. Grow up and do what we can to make this world a better place for all people to enjoy freedom. Thanks for watching this video. How would you like to hear more motivational stories on a consistent basis? Do me a favor and support the channel by sharing, commenting below, and please make sure to like and hit that subscribe button to get the latest updates. Soon, you will be on your way to feeling inspired.